Alright, let's address the chaos that's the current chatter around Ashes of Creation. If you've been online for even a millisecond lately, you've probably caught wind of the drama, thanks in no small part to Narc's latest video. We'll dive into that spicy mess in a second, but first, let's set the stage. Apparently, the internet has decided it's time to collectively roast the devs, scream about transparency, and even throw around the word scam like it's candy on Halloween. Honestly, the whole thing is giving angry mob with pitchforks energy. And while I've been keeping tabs on Ashes for the last couple of years, I've got a few thoughts of my own. Let's start with the obvious. Yes, some of you shelled out serious cash for this game, and I get it. $250 for a pledge isn't exactly pocket change, especially for us mere mortals with perpetually empty wallets. But here's the thing, calling it an investment is a bit of a stretch. Unless you're expecting dividends from Steven Sharif himself, let's call it what it is. A gamble on a dream. So, as usual, disclaimer time. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, nor do I want to discredit either the developers for their work, nor the players with their valid complaints. I think everyone has a right to voice their concerns. This is the internet after all. It was basically built for corn and complaining. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and there's no objectively right or wrong for most part of it. Everything I say here is my opinion, and it's strictly from my point of view. That being said, I believe we can move on. Okay? Okay, good, let's go. For those of you blissfully unaware, or just avoiding MMO drama for the sake of your own sanity, Ashes of Creation is an MMO still in development, brought to you by Intrepid Studios and helmed by Steven Sharif, part dreamer, part salesman, and maybe part wizard, considering his ability to conjure hype from thin air. The game was pitched as the savior of MMORPGs, promising revolutionary systems like the node system, dynamic combat, and enough innovation to make other games look like they're still stuck in 2005. Fast forward to today and, well, let's just say revolutionary is starting to feel like a stretch. The devs have been accused of using the term alpha as a shield for every shortcoming. And the infamous demos, the ones with assets that mysteriously don't make it into the game, aren't exactly helping their case. It's like they've mastered the art of overpromising and underdelivering. Meanwhile, the basics like layering, server stability, and combat that doesn't feel like you're swinging a pool noodle still leave a lot to be desired. And let's not forget the node system, which was supposed to revolutionize the genre. Right now, it's less revolutionary and more, we're still figuring it out, please be patient. It's like they're building a skyscraper, but keep adding penthouses while the foundation is cracking. Now, don't get me wrong, players aren't saints either. You've got folks screaming about Ashes not being a flawless masterpiece despite it still being in beta. Complaints range from legitimate issues like slow development and broken promises to absolute nonsense like this rock texture doesn't spark joy. It's the classic case of people wanting filet mignon while the chef is still peeling potatoes. So here we are, a game with sky-high ambitions, a community ready to riot over the tiniest misstep, and developers who seem to think adding more is the same as delivering better. Welcome to the circus, folks. Let's break it down. The whole thing blew out of proportion after Narc, a prolific YouTuber who has been consistently uploading videos about Ashes since 2020, announced he'll no longer be creating content about the game because he gave up on it. He doesn't trust the developer and called it a scam. Let's put a pin on that for now. The first thing I do agree with Narc is, and I also recommend everyone do their background check before listening to anyone's review on absolutely anything, not just games, guys, is, are they being paid for that? If that person is sponsored or affiliated in any way with the product or brand they're talking about, you should completely disregard their opinion. No, don't just take it with a pinch of salt. Just disregard it. Doesn't matter if the guy is your favorite content creator or your most beloved celebrity. By the way, if you love celebrities, there's something wrong with you. So, yeah, if the person is sponsored, forget it. Once again, don't get me wrong. They're not pricks or bigots, they just have bills to pay, and most of their money comes from sponsorships. So, like Dave Chappelle said, never get in the way of a man and his meal. But that's not the case here. As Narc himself said, he's just a normal guy voicing his opinions. So, about calling the game a scam, let's pump the brakes on that, shall we? On this one, I'm going to have to firmly disagree with most of you guys. Look, I get it. Most of you invested a ton of your time in this game, but calling it a scam, that's crossing into tinfoil hat territory. A scam would mean the devs never intended to release the game and were secretly funneling our pledge money into, I don't know, offshore avocado farms or something equally absurd. But that's clearly not what's happening here. Sure, you could accuse them of mismanagement or being about as transparent as a brick wall, but labeling them scammers, that's a bit dramatic, don't you think? It's a serious accusation, and unless Steven Sharif is building a secret moon base with our cash, it's just not fair. Now, don't get me wrong, I get the frustration, I do. It's hard not to feel like they're dragging this whole thing out. The content drought is real, and my excitement for the game is starting to dry up faster than my hopes for Half-Life 3. Add to that the endless promises, shiny new systems that never see the light of day, and those flashy showcases with assets that only exist in some parallel universe. Well, it's exhausting. And let's be honest, when this kind of stuff keeps happening, trust takes a nosedive. You just throw your hands up and walk away. Who knew keeping faith in a game could feel like a full-time job? Let's talk about this whole bang for your buck situation, shall we? If you forked over the minimum $100 for this game, which, let's be honest, isn't exactly pocket change for most of us, how long does it take before you feel like you've gotten your money's worth? What's the magic formula? Is it hitting 200 hours of gameplay? Feeling like you've had enough fun to justify the price tag? Or is it just not caring because you've already emotionally written that $100 off as a sunk cost? Here's the thing, games are entertainment. They're not enlightenment retreats or soul-healing journeys. You paid your $100, you played for 5 or 6 months, and you had a good time. Or at least some time. Isn't that kind of the deal? Or are we still holding out hope that this alpha is going to spontaneously turn into a fully realized life-changing MMO that also solves world hunger? In like a non-related note, one big problem with people nowadays is that everyone expects every game to be a transcendental experience of mind and soul, when in the end all a game needs to do is provide you with some fun. But I digress, and that's beside the point here. Let's get back on track. Now, when you see the word pledge slapped onto something, it makes you feel like you're part of a secret handshake club. Like you're in something more meaningful than just a game. You're not just a customer, you're a backer, a supporter of the dream. And yeah, Intrepid Studios plays into that vibe hard. But let's be real, guys. At the end of the day, we didn't buy shares in this project. We just threw $100 at an early alpha version of a game with a lot of content TBD. And honestly, we all knew what we were signing up for. The website doesn't exactly sugarcoat it. It's clear as day, here's an alpha. It's bare bones, and might crash more often than Windows 95. If you expected more, that's on you. Now, before you grab your pitchforks and torches, let me say this. I know I'm coming off as a bit of a fence sitter here. You're probably thinking, what's your deal, Amy? Are you team dev or team disgruntled player? And fair point. But here's the thing. I just think it's important to see both sides. Yes, Intrepid has its issues, and yes, the community can be, let's say, difficult. But there's nuance here, and I think it's worth exploring. So bear with me, okay? Alright, let's wrap this up with the reality check. There's enough blame here to go around for everyone, okay? On one hand, Steven and the team at Intrepid Studios are absolutely fumbling the ball in some areas. They're trying, let's give them that, but trying isn't delivering. They keep overpromising like it's an Olympic sport. New systems keep popping up while the old ones barely limp along. And every showcase is a parade of shiny features that aren't even in the game yet. It's starting to feel like a race where the finish line just keeps sprinting ahead. But let's not act like the community is all sunshine and roses either. Some folks out here are acting like devs owe them a fully polished game yesterday. The level of vitriol directed at Steven and his team is insane. They're trying to keep interest alive, sharing progress, at least something to show the game's still a thing. And the response? A chorus of complaints, insults, and a whole buffet of entitlement. It's like a daycare where everyone missed nap time. Now, I know it's not everyone. Maybe it's just a loud minority, or maybe it's the majority, who knows. But the roller coaster of reactions is wild. And yes, I know this is fueled by passion. A passion that, ironically, might be the only thing keeping this game alive. Then, let's circle back to Narc for a second. He's a perfect example of this love-hate dynamic. The guy poured his time, money, and energy into this game. He championed it, believed in it, and wanted it to succeed. But after 4 years, 4 freaking years, he's over it. And honestly, fair enough. That's a long time to wait for something that feels like it's stuck in an endless loop of we're working on it. But, and that's a big but. Here's the twist, and please don't come at me for this. Narc also owes a lot to Ashes, alright? His channel grew significantly because of it. The game, flawed as it is, helped him build a fan base and rack up views. So, yeah, it's a messy breakup, but it's not like it was a total loss. And honestly, I'm glad he's moving on to do more of his goofy bits and jokes. That's what I like the most about his content. I'll still tune in, and I bet a lot of you will too. That said, I'd love for people to take a more balanced approach to this whole drama. Critique the game, hold the devs accountable, sure. But let's not act like they've personally ruined your life. And players, maybe dial back the outrage and remember we signed up for this. Then again, this is the internet, so I know that's a big ask. Overreaction is practically the currency here. So there you go. These are just my 2 cents on the never-ending Ashes of Creation saga. It'd be cool to know what you think though. Are the devs dragging this out on purpose for more cash? Or are the players just being entitled? Also, please don't forget to like or subscribe, whatever you feel like. I'm not your mother, but it helps me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Until next time, stay safe, chill, be cool, and maybe try not to bite each other's heads off. See you in the next one. Bye.